Hello and welcome to the butterfly stage. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the most common mistakes when starting a butterfly garden. The first mistake is thinking you only need milkweed. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people say, "Oh, we got to plant milkweed for the butterflies, for the butterfly gardens. We just got to do milkweed." It's true. Butterflies do need milkweed, specifically monarchs. Their babies, caterpillars, need milkweed to grow. But that is not the only thing that butterflies need. As a matter of fact, other species of butterflies a lot of them don't even use milkweed for nectar. A lot of them do, but some of them don't. And they are certainly not a host plant for every butterfly. So the first biggest, I think it's the biggest common mistake in starting a butterfly garden is only planning to plant milkweed. That is the first one. As a matter of fact, for monarch butterflies, I have read, I don't know in theory if this is true because I do not raise monarch caterpillars. Some people are raising monarch caterpillars. I'm not fond of that personally, but some people think it's helping. If they run out of milkweed for the baby caterpillars, it has been said that you can use butternut squash plants and cucumber and pumpkin, that the monarch caterpillars will eat those, but I would not take that too hard because I personally don't know. I haven't experienced it. But the biggest mistake is milkweed is not the only thing you should plant in your garden for butterflies. There are plenty of other plants that are great nectar sources for monarchs as well. Yes, they do need the milkweed for their babies, but as adults, they need other sources of nectar as well. And some of those plants are asters, another plant would be goldenrod, which honestly, in my experience from my butterfly garden, I've only been doing this for this is my 5th year, but in my experience, goldenrod is like the #1 plant that all butterfly breeds love. And the bees, the native bees, mining bees, everybody loves that plant. The problem with goldenrod is specifically the one that's native to my area, which is Solidago. Canadiensis solidago, not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but that particular goldenrod spreads super easy. It spreads by seed and rhizomes underneath the ground. So if you do plant goldenrod, do not plant it in a flower bed unless you like weeding all the time. I planted it in my butterfly garden with other plants, and yeah, I do have to weed it all the time. That is the biggest drawback to goldenrod. I don't know if there are other native goldenrod to the rest of the United States, if maybe some of those goldenrods don't spread as easily, but I highly suggest if you do plant goldenrod, not to plant it in a flower bed because it will continue to spread. But it is the #1 go-to nectar source in my butterfly garden for all pollinators, not just butterflies. So asters and goldenrod are also really great plants, nectar sources for monarchs. Another great nectar plant for monarchs is zinnia. They love zinnia. I have not had good luck in my area with planting zinnia by seeds. It's much better for me to plant them, start them indoors, and then transplant them outside. Many people, like everybody I know, says, "Oh, zinnias are the easiest seed to plant." And maybe that's true for them, but it hasn't been my experience. I think I just have too many birds, too much wildlife. I mean, if that's a problem, I mean, I don't think it's a problem, but it is very hard to start stuff by seeds here in my area. So if you have the same problem as I do, a lot of little songbirds, some squirrels, other wildlife, rabbits around, then maybe think about starting the zinnia indoors and then planting it outside later. But zinnia is a great nectar source for monarchs. And the next common mistake in gardening for butterflies is thinking that all you should plant are butterfly bushes. No. As a matter of fact, I know many people, many gardeners, some butterfly gardeners that are like, don't plant butterfly bushes at all because they're an invasive species and they spread out everywhere. And if that's all the plants that's going to be for the butterflies, it's not going to be good because it's not a host plant. Well, in my own personal opinion, I don't think planting a butterfly bush is bad, especially if you get the hybrids, the newer hybrids that are cultivated to not spread. Yes, they have made butterfly bushes, cultivated them so that they won't spread and be invasive. If you do have one of those invasive butterfly bushes, you might want to consider taking it out. I have one butterfly bush. I did not plant it. My mother-in-law did, because we're on her former property, but it has not spread anywhere. But just because I haven't seen it spread on our property doesn't mean a bird picked it up and started spreading it somewhere else. But I think if you plant a butterfly bush that is non-invasive, if they are cultivated to be the newer hybrids that won't be invasive, I think it's okay, because I have seen tons of butterflies on a butterfly bush. And I think butterfly bushes are so common these days that butterflies are just automatically, they know it exists. They know that those bushes are there for nectar. And yeah, they're not a host plant. Their little baby caterpillars are not going to survive on a butterfly bush, but it does get the butterflies from one place, one yard to the next, throughout their journey, and it refreshes them. And I think it's not the worst mistake. Some people will disagree with me. Many butterfly gardeners will probably disagree with me, but I think butterfly bush can be a great source, but it's not something I don't recommend. And definitely do not have your butterfly garden covered in butterfly bushes all over and thinking that's the only source that they need. It's kind of like candy for them, like giving your kid a diet of Reese's peanut butter cups. So yeah, it can refresh them. It'll give them sugar to get on to the next journey, but it's not going to be a long sustaining source. So you want to plant other nectar sources besides butterfly bushes. And that is it for today on a couple of common mistakes with butterfly gardening. Don't just plant milkweed and don't just plant butterfly bushes. There are a lot of other ones, and I will go over more nectar sources on another episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you tomorrow with day 19 of Advent Calendar. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching.